तपस्वी वही जिनके अंग अंग हो शीतल, मुख मधुरस छलकाए, नैन सुधा वर्षाए, मुख मधुरस छलकाए, नैन सुधा वर्षाए, प्रभु पे न्योछावर हो सर्वस्व अपना, सुख में सदा लहराए, प्रभु संदेश सुनाए, प्रभु पे न्योछावर हो सर्वस्व अपना, सुख में सदा लहराए, प्रभु संदेश सुनाए, तपस्वी वही। करे जो अनुशासन, उनके लिए ही है इस संगम पर प्रभु के दिल का सिंहासन। अपने स्वमान के आसन पे रह के खुद पे करे जो अनुशासन, उनके लिए ही है इस संगम पर प्रभु के दिल का सिंहासन। मधुर तपन से जग के ताप मिटाए, प्रभु संदेश सुनाए, तपस्वी वही, तपस्वी वही जिनके अंग अंग हो शीतल, मुख मधुरस छलकाए, नैन सुधा वर्षाए, प्रभु पे न्योछावर हो सर्वस्व अपना, सुख में सदा लहराए, प्रभु संदेश सुनाए, तपस्वी वही। हद के आकर्षण से परे वो एक के आकर्षण में रहे, उनके सुबह शाम दिल में दिलाराम, महिमा प्रभु की धड़कन में रहे। हद के आकर्षण से परे वो एक के आकर्षण में रहे, उनके सुबह शाम दिल में दिलाराम, प्रभु की धड़कन में रहे। अपने तपस्वी जीवन से जन जन को सत्य का मार्ग दिखाए, प्रभु संदेश सुनाए। तपस्वी वही जिनके अंग अंग हो शीतल, मुख मधुरस छलकाए, नैन सुधा वर्षाए। प्रभु पे न्योछावर हो सर्वस्व अपना, सुख में सदा लहराए, प्रभु संदेश सुनाए। तपस्वी वही तपस्वी वही तपस्वी वही तपस्वी वही।
आवाज से परे मधुर साज से भरे, अंदाज में बुलाए बाबा पुकार के बच्चिया। आवाज से परे मधुर साज से भरे, अंदाज में बुलाए बाबा पुकार के बच्चिया। सितारों से दूर सितारों का जहां, रहता परम सितारा बेहद सुकून वहां। सितारों से दूर सितारों का जहां, रहता परम सितारा बेहद सुकून वहां। बच्चिया बच्चिया नूर समंदर दिखता सुंदर, लहराए निरंतर आनंदित अंतर। मौजों की मौज लेने का है समय, वो प्रेम डोर से खींचे वहाँ। जी भर निहार के लिए पंख प्यार के हम उड़ चले। आवाज से परे मधुर साज से भरे, अंदाज में बुलाए बाबा पुकार के बच्चिया।
Om Shanti Pratiba Ben, if you can unmute, please.
I think you unmuted, Pratiba Ben. Sorry, Pratiba Ben is muted.
Okay. Om Shanti. I think I was muted. I think it's better now. So yes, I was just sharing that the last few Sundays Murlis have been like a festival of Murlis. Baba has been, speaking about various aspects, and two themes that have been coming through very powerfully. One is the theme of faith. And today again, Baba, in a very powerful way, shares with us the faith of Brahma Baba and how absolute it is. And last week, Baba said that Brahma Baba is the one soul that plays the role of both mother and father. And today being Father's Day is very special because today's Murli, Baba really, in a way, highlights Brahma Baba's efforts. We have the example of Brahma Baba and our daddies in terms of how to translate what Shiv Baba is asking of us into practical everyday life. But Brahma Baba had no example. Baba had to become the example. And so in so many ways, we see the quality of Baba's efforts. In terms of his thinking and attitude and words and actions. And, one very beautiful thing is that whatever Baba wanted or whatever Baba inspired the children to do, he first did it. And through his doing, he inspired. So he really became the sample to show us how. And for me, that speaks volumes in terms of Baba's humility. And it is because of Baba's humility in a way that he was able to make all of us in a way reach for that highest destination. So one is Baba giving us that aim of what we need to be. But the second is also he showed us the qualifications to fulfill that aim. And so in today's Murli, Baba is really saying that when we recognize and understand and deeply appreciate what Baba has done for us and is still doing for us, then how do I give the return of that love? Baba says, you don't have anything to give me. So how do we give the return of what Baba has given us and is still giving us? And that's where Baba is saying to become complete and equal to him. It's just that our dharana and our cultivation of what Baba is teaching us is a way of giving a response to the love that God's giving us. And so really to feel that kind of nurturing care that Brahma Baba has had for us. Shiv Baba, yes, he's the ocean of love and he always gives us love and is constant, but just really recognizing Brahma Baba's love, Baba's surrender, Baba's courage. And today Baba is saying that it's on the basis of that surrender, that there was that courage, and Baba's sacrifice, and how whatever it was like, that surrender, that sacrifice, that really becoming the example, that's the foundation for the Yakya. And it's on that foundation that whatever growth is happening or whatever expansion has happened on that foundation. And of course, when Baba became the sample, then of course the dadis were inspired as well. And so many families that came at that time. So it's a very beautiful Murli in terms of just really appreciating Brahma Baba and the depth of Baba's love for us and the depth of Baba's commitment to creating that new world for all of us. So it's a Murli, so it was after 18 January Murli. And last week Baba talked about being equal and powerful. So love and power, the balance of that. So today he's like showing us how Brahma Baba did it. So it's the 22nd of January, 1988. And the Murli is entitled, "The First Step of Courage is to Surrender." The first step of courage is to surrender. There's a subtitle to this Murli that it's the life story of Brahma Baba. So today, Bab Dada, the ocean of love, is pleased to see his loving children. Each and every loving soul has just the one deep desire. So what's our desire? One deep desire and elevated thought that they should all become equal to the Father and become merged in love. Until there's that sense of equality, until we raise our stage to be like Baba, only then can we have the fullness of the experience of Baba's love. It's like we have to raise our frequency to Baba's frequency, then we can feel that fullness. So to become merged in love means to become equal to the Father. Everyone has the determined thought in their heart that they definitely have to give a return of the love, the powerful sustenance, and the limitless and imperishable treasures they have received from Bab Dada. What will you give as a return? Apart from the love in your hearts, what else do you have? Our pennies are worth nothing, no? Whatever you have has been given to you by the Father. So what else will you give? To become equal to the Father is the return. And you can all do this. So Baba wants us to become like him. And it's possible for all of us. Bab Dada is seeing that at this time, The awareness of Father Brahma has especially emerged in everyone's heart to a greater extent. This awareness is not of that physical body, but awareness of the specialities of his divine activities. Because the alokik Brahman life is the life of being an embodiment of knowledge. When you are an embodiment of knowledge, the awareness of the body does not bring any waves of sorrow. It's like we know the body is perishable, body can't last forever. So unlike in the old world, how people get attached to the body, and if something happens to the body, there's so much sorrow. So Baba says, be knowledgeable, we know body is perishable, but our remembrance creates a different feeling. So whenever people in a life without knowledge remember someone, the physical body of that person would appear in front of them. And because it is a bodily relationship, they experience sorrow. However, when you Brahmin children remember the alokik father, what happens? You receive power. Why? For you definitely also have to become equal to the Father. So when you Brahmin children remember the alokik Father, you receive power. For you definitely also have to become equal to the Father. The awareness of the alokik Father increases your capability. That is, it gives you power. It's a very important connection here in a way that when we hold awareness of Baba, awareness of, when we hold awareness of Baba, Brahma Baba, we're also holding awareness of the angelic stage because Baba became an angel. And so as we hold that awareness then increases our capability, because whatever awareness we hold, that's what's going to increase our capability in a way. So the awareness of the alokik Father increases your capability. That is, it gives you power. Even when some children show the love in their heart, how do we sometimes show our love? What do we do? We cry a little bit, exactly. Even when some children show the love in their heart with pearls in their eyes. Look, Baba doesn't say cry and whatever. He doesn't say snot and trana, he says pearls in their eyes. They are not tears of sorrow or tears of separation, but pearls of love. It is the love of the meeting of hearts. You are not yogis who are separated, but Raja yogis. Because true love in the heart brings you the power to be the first to give the Father a fast return. To give a return means to become equal. It is with this method that you will return to your sweet home with your loving Bap Dada. That is, you will all go back with him. You have to give a return and also return home with the Father. This is why your love and remembrance make you detached from the world and loving to the Father. Sorry, are you all comfortable or are you all frozen? Cold? If you want, you can switch on the other heater. You all okay? All right. So Bap Dada was seeing the children's thoughts of becoming powerful and their enthusiasm to become equal. He was seeing the specialities of Father Brahma. If you were to speak about Brahma Baba's specialities, how many would there be? There was speciality at every step. When I was reading this, I was remembering a sweet little scene. Kalpana, you may remember we were in Melbourne. You know this Dada Vaswami, who's like Daddy Janki's generation. He's also like the main guru of the Sindhis. So he was also in Melbourne for the Parliament of World's Religions, and Daddy had gone to meet him. And so they had a chit chat, and his followers were there, etc. And so one of his followers had asked Dada Vaswami, tell us about your guru, you know. And so he said one or two words, and then Daddy said, I'll tell you about him. And then she said a lot about him. And then when she came to morning class with all of us, so she told us what had happened at night. And she said, none of y'all asked me about Brahma Baba. And I will tell you about my Baba, how good he was, you know. It's just such a sweet scene, butter intoxication. So today Baba, Shiv Baba is telling us Brahma Baba's speciality. So there was speciality at every step. Even in his thoughts, he had the zeal and enthusiasm at every moment to make everyone special. So Baba didn't just have the intoxication and enthusiasm of his own efforts and what he's going to become. That was firm. But Baba's enthusiasm as well was that every child becomes special. You know how generous Baba's heart was. So he had the zeal and enthusiasm at every moment to make everyone special. In a practical way, you saw in him the speciality of constantly putting zeal and enthusiasm in every soul through his attitude. So he gave courage with his words. Baba never said, oh, there's no hope for you. He gave courage with his words. He brought hope to those who felt hopeless. He made weak souls fly in the flying stage. He made everyone worthy of doing service. There's a beautiful story that Mohini Ben shares. There was one brother, and he was sort of mentally like a child, although he was in an adult body. So his family brought him to Baba, and Baba said, okay. And so what Baba did, Baba got him a special uniform for security guard. And Baba, gave him a little stick and said, your main role is going to be a security guard, and that you like the protector for everyone. And this brother had such enthusiasm and felt like Baba seen worth in me, that Baba gives me such an important task. So that was what Baba would do. He'll find a way to let each soul feel worthy, that they have a valuable contribution to make. So in a practical way, you saw in him the speciality of putting zeal and enthusiasm in every soul through his attitude. He gave courage with his words. He brought hope to those who felt hopeless. He made everyone worthy of doing service. His every word was invaluable, sweet and yukti-yukt. Sit closer. Similarly, he was the children's companion in every action and made them karma yogis. He wasn't just an observer who watched with detachment, but in order to give children the experience of the importance of physical work, he was a companion in action. Whatever actions I perform, children who see me will automatically do the same. He constantly taught this lesson with his actions. In relationships and connections with little children, he became like he became like the little children and made them happy. Baba would play carom board with them. With retired elderly people, being an experienced elderly person himself, he constantly gave them zeal and enthusiasm. With little children, he was like a child. With the youth, he was like a youth. And with the elderly, he was an elderly person, and constantly made each one move forward. In his relationships and connections, he always gave them the experience of belonging. Everyone felt belonging to Baba. So he always gave them the experience of belonging. Little children would also say, Baba doesn't love anyone as much as he loves me. He gave each one so much of love that each one felt, Baba is mine. This is the speciality of relationship and connection. In looking at others, he saw the speciality and virtue of every soul. In his thoughts, even while always knowing someone to be the last number bead, he always had pure and positive thoughts for such a soul, that that soul would constantly move forward. All the children experience such specialities. To become equal in all these things means to follow the Father. He like put his footprints for us, how to follow. So is it difficult to follow in this way? This is called love. This is called giving the return. Bapdada saw how much return each child has given. Everyone has the aim but the number lies in their practical lives. Everyone wants to be number one. No one would prefer to be number 2 or 3. This is also a good and powerful aim. But to make your qualifications according to your aim is to become equal. In Hindi, the words go nice. Laksh, the aim, and lakshan, which means the qualification. So good to have the aim, but also how do I see that aim reflected practically? So I say, I love Baba, I want to be equal to Baba, but how does that show practically? It's the generosity, that enthusiasm, seeing those virtues that Baba spoke about, so the practical reflections of that aim. For this, what was the first step of courage that Father Brahma took, through which he experienced being multi-million times fortunate from the beginning? What was the first step Baba took? The first step of courage was to surrender everything. He surrendered everything. He didn't think about what would happen or how it would happen. In a second, according to the Father's elevated directions, when the Father gave a signal, it was the Father's signal and Brahma's action or step. This is called the first step of courage. He even surrendered his body. He constantly made his mind successful with the method of Man Mana Bhava. There was a lovely sharing of Niluben, and just saying, when Daddy Golza was given the part to be Baba's chariot, like how instant as well her surrender was, and it's not just about the surrender of the body, but the attention of surrendering the mind, that she would never harbor any other thought about any other soul. And the one aspect that how when the season is going to start, it was like how there was this internal preparation of body and mind and stage that Daddy would undertake, so that when Baba comes, it's like the chariot's ready, And so even if someone will tell Daddy, give some correction to the soul or whatever, she was so attentive that she would never let her drishti for anyone be any less. She always kept a very elevated drishti for everyone, because in a way she was so conscious that the soul experiences Babdara through this chariot, and my sanskaras and attitude cannot interfere in that experience. So she paid so much attention that nothing of her would interfere in her being that accurate, totally available chariot. Such a deep level of surrender, And so Baba was saying that Brahma Baba as well, he constantly made his mind successful with the method of Man Mana Bhav. This was how his mind, that is, every thought, was successful. That is, he became an embodiment of success. Without any worry for the future, he surrendered all his wealth because he had the faith that this giving was not giving, but was to be receiving multi-million fold. In the same way, he also surrendered his relationships. That is, he transformed Lokic relationships into Alokik. He didn't leave anything, but he brought benefit and transformed everything. He surrendered the intellect that had the consciousness of I and the intellect of ego. This was how he became constantly pure, cool, and a bestower of happiness with his body, mind, and intellect. So when there is the surrender of I and the ego of I, the fruit of that is become constantly pure, cool, and a bestower of happiness. It's a nice checking point. No matter what situations came up with his Lokic family, or even with souls in the world not known to him, there was no upheaval of doubt, either in his thoughts or his dreams, even in a subtle form, not even the slightest thought. Father Brahma's special wonder was that where all of you had the example of Father Brahma in the corporeal form in front of all of you, Brahma himself did not have any physical example in front of him. I always feel like Baba paved the way, you know? It's like it's a jungle that we need to get through to get to the other side. And Baba created the path. So it makes it easy for all of us. Unshakable faith. And the Father's Srimad were his only support. For all of you, it is very easy. And the later you came, the easier it has been for you. Because you have the example of the elevated life of transformation of many souls. It is clear for you, you have to do this and become this. This is why there is no margin for you people to question why or what. You can see everything. However, there was a margin for these questions to arise in Brahma Baba. What do you have to do? What is going to happen in the future? Am I doing it right or am I wrong? It was possible for these thoughts to arise, but he made the possible impossible. With one strength and one support, his intellect had faith, and it became the number one, and he became the number one victorious soul. So can you just imagine Shiv Baba's telling him that you have to practice celibacy, and everyone who comes to the satsang must also practice celibacy. So Baba says, we have to become pure. And then what happens? There's complete upheaval in the community that happens, and Baba just had to hold on to that faith that this is Shiv Baba's yagya and it's Shiv Baba's instruction. So no matter what the chaos that's happening, he's responsible. But he's invisible. No one can see him. They can only see Brahma Baba, So he was receiving so much of slander in some ways. But he had to just hold on to that faith. This is Shiv Baba's yagya, and I'm not telling you to do it. He's the one that's telling you to do it. So that whole aspect was quite incredible. So with one strength and one support, his intellect had faith, and he became the number one victorious soul. Because of his surrender, his intellect was always light. I really like that, that when there is that surrender and there's lightness inside. He didn't have any burden on his intellect. His mind was carefree. On his face, you always saw the clear signs of a carefree emperor. 350 children. And there wasn't even flour to feed the children. And they had to be fed on time. Just think, could anyone remain carefree in such a situation? The bell had to be rung at 1 p.m. and up to 11 a.m. there was no flour. Who could remain carefree? Even under such circumstances, he remained cheerful and unshakable. And what would Baba say? What helped him to remain so carefree? Baba would say, this is the father's responsibility, not mine. I belong to the father, and the children also belong to the father. I am just an instrument. Who can have such faith and remain carefree? Now I was thinking that why is it that we think so much? Why is it that we can't remain like Brahma Baba was, carefree? And on one level, it's because we're trying to control things, and we think the more we think about it, the more control we have over it. But actually, we don't, in a way. And because Baba was surrendered and he had such faith, that's why he never felt the need to think so much. So it's a very, interesting checking point that when there isn't that deep faith, then we overthink. So a soul who is surrendered, so who can have such faith and remain carefree? A soul who is surrendered with his mind and intellect. He did not use his intellect and think, I don't know what is going to happen. Will everyone starve? Will this happen or that happen? Despite having a margin for such waste thoughts and doubts, he always had powerful thoughts. The Father is always the protector and the benefactor. This is the speciality of surrender. So just as the Father Brahma surrendered and took the first step of courage, follow the Father in the same way. Faith definitely brings victory. The flower came on time, the bell was rung, and they passed. This is known as not having questions, not taking a crooked path, but always putting a full stop of benefit. Full stop. Can we do that? Full stop. By using this method, it will be easy for you. And you will also attain you will also attain success. So this was the wonder of Father Brahma. Today you were told about the one first step. Become free from the burden of worry. This is known as giving the return of love. Acha. So to those who constantly follow the Father at every step, to those who give the return of love at every step, to those whose intellects always have faith and as carefree emperors remain constantly free from worry, to those who become equal to the Father in their thoughts, words, actions, and relationships, to those who constantly have pure and positive thoughts, to those who always see the speciality of each one, to those who constantly enable every soul to move forward, to the children who are equal to the Father in this way, heart-filled love, remembrance, and namaste from the loving Father. And then Baba meeting a few groups today. The first one. Do you consider yourselves to be the highest on high Brahman souls who belong to the highest on high Father? Brahmins are remembered as the highest of all. The sign of the highest is always shown as the top knot of Brahmins. People of the world have shown the top knot as the symbol of those worldly Brahmins. So you are not those who have a top knot, but those who remain in the stage of a top knot. They have shown the physical symbol, but it is in fact a matter of staying in a high stage. Brahmins are said to be the most elevated. The most elevated means the most elevated of human beings. So the Hindi word is very nice, Purushottam. Purush means a person, being, and Purushottam means an elevated being. So more elevated than ordinary human souls. So you are such elevated beings, are you not? The soul is said to be Purush. Those who become elevated souls means to become the most elevated human beings of all. And deities are also called the most elevated because they are deity souls. You are Brahmins, even higher than deity souls. Constantly have this intoxication. For the other intoxication, it would be said, reduce it. But for spiritual intoxication, the Father says, continue to increase it. Because this intoxication does not cause damage. All other forms of intoxication cause damage. This will make you climb high, and the other would make you fall. That's it. The other one makes you go high and then drops you. Once in Cape Town, there was a soul that used to come to the center and he said, Sister, I'd like you to come and meet this community in Grassy Park. So he said just to share with them, because his brother is doing good initiatives with young people, and so to introduce them to meditation. So when I went there, it was like, Grassy Park is one of the poorer communities. And so we went to the back of the house where there was a shack. And I could get some interesting smells already when I went to the back. And the one brother, young brother, was sitting there sorting out the seeds of the cannabis. And then I said, could we open one or two windows here? And then shared with them a little bit. And then the main brother, who was a Rastafarian, very sweet soul. And at the end of it, we did a meditation. And then when I finished the meditation, he said, wow, sister, this was so good. You mean to say I can get a high without the ganja? I said, yes, brother, you can. So anyway, Baba takes us in many interesting places to do service. So if spiritual intoxication comes down, what happens? You remember the old world. If the intoxication rises, there will be the awareness of the new world. This Brahman world is also a new world. This world is even more elevated than the golden age. So constantly continue to move forward in this awareness. Do you always experience yourselves to be the elevated creation of the Father, the world creator? A Brahman life means an elevated creation of the world creator. Do you have the intoxication that each one of you is a direct creation of the Father? People of the world say that they have been created by God without knowing what that means. Previously, all of you also used to say this without knowing what it meant. But you now know that you are the Kumars and Kumaris who belong to the clan of Shiva. So you now say, on the basis of knowledge and understanding, that God has created you and that you are the mouth-born creation. The Father has created the creation directly through Brahma. So you are the creation of Babdada or the mother and father. You can now say from experience that you are a direct creation of God. So God's creation would be so elevated. As is the creator, so would be his creation, would they not? Daddy Janki's favorite song, no? Tujhe dekh kar jagwale par. And so if the creation is so beautiful, how much more beautiful is the creator? So as is the creator, so would be his creation, would they not? Do you always have this intoxication and happiness? You do not consider yourselves to be ordinary, do you? When the significance of this enters your intellect, you will have this spiritual intoxication and happiness on your face and in your activities constantly and automatically. When others see your face, they will experience you truly to be a creation of the elevated creator. For instance, you would be able to tell from the behavior of a princess, the daughter of a king, that she is from a royal family. You can tell whether someone is from a wealthy family or an ordinary family. In the same way, from your behavior and your face, let people experience you to be an elevated creation, children of the highest Father. And then Baba speaking to the Kumaris today. Why is there the praise that Kumaris are more elevated than 100 Brahmins? Freddy? Because to the extent that you yourselves are elevated, you will automatically be able to make others elevated. So do you have the happiness that you are elevated souls? So Kumaris become servers and continue to move forward in service. Because this confluence age is a short age, and each one of you can achieve whatever you want as much as you want. So you are those who have an elevated aim and elevated qualifications. Today, that's something Baba's underlining. Aim and qualifications. Elevated aim and qualifications. So you are those who have an elevated aim and elevated qualifications, are you not? When you have an elevated aim and elevated qualifications, the attainment you experience will also always be elevated. So it's like I have to bring my awareness into action. Awareness by itself is not enough, because fortune is created when I act on something. So when you have an elevated aim and elevated qualifications, the attainment you experience will also always be elevated. So do you constantly experience the fruit of happiness and power in this godly life? People in the world spend money to get happiness, but in spite of that, they don't attain it. Even if they do have some happiness, it is temporary, because along with that happiness, there is also sorrow. However, the lives of all of you have become those of constant happiness. People of the world are desperate for happiness, whereas you are receiving happiness as your instant visible fruit. Happiness is the speciality of your life. If there is no happiness, there is no life. So you are constantly making progress and moving forward, are you not? Bapdada is happy that the Kumaris have been saved at the right time. Otherwise, you would have climbed the wrong ladder and then would have had to climb down. So to go up and come down takes effort. Look, even householders are still called Brahma Kumars and Brahma Kumaris. They are not called Brahma Adar Kumars. They still become Kumars and Kumaris. So they come down the ladder, whereas you don't have to come down. You are very fortunate. You have found the Father at the right time. Only Kumaris are worshipped. When a Kumari becomes a householder, she has to become a lamb and bow down in front of everyone. It's like from being a lioness, she has to become a lamb. Imagine that. So you have been saved, have you not? Therefore, always consider yourselves to be very fortunate and continue to move forward. Acha. And then Baba speaking to the mothers. All of you are powerful mothers, are you not? You are not weak, are you? What does Bab Dada want from you mothers? For each one of you mothers to become a world mother and benefit the world. Become unlimited. Because we get caught up in our little households, Baba wants us to have an unlimited attitude. However, mothers work very cleverly. When any lokic work has to be done, they make someone or other an instrument to do that, and they themselves go out. However, when it is a godly task, they say, I have children, so who's going to look after them? So Bab Dada says to the Pandavas, our Pandavas are not here physically, they're on Zoom, so they can hear. Special instruction to all the Pandavas. Bab Dada says to the Pandavas, you have to look after them because you are the creators, meaning the children. So the Pandavas should free the Shaktis. According to the drama, at the present time, it is the mothers who have been given a chance. Therefore, the mothers have to be kept in the front. So you now have to do a lot of service. The whole world has to be transformed. So how will you complete the service? A fast speed is needed, is it not? So Pandavas, you free the Shaktis so that centers can open and the sound can spread. Acha. And then the blessing. May you be truly loving and surrender everything of yours to the Father in all forms and all relationships. May you be truly loving and surrender everything of yours to the Father in all forms and all relationships. Whomever you love, you would put everyone else aside for that love and surrender everything of yours to that person. Similarly, the Father loves the children, and so He enables all the loving children to have the attainment of everlasting happiness and sends everyone else to the land of liberation. The proof of love of such children is that they surrender everything of theirs to the Father in all forms and all relationships. And then this was a very important line that Baba shares. Where there is love, there is yoga. And where there is yoga, there is cooperation. So, it's love, sneh, then there's yoga. And where there's yoga, there's cooperation, sahayoga. You cannot then waste a single treasure due to following the dictates of your own mind. So it's really that the depth of the surrender that comes when there's that deep love and recognition of Baba is that even at the level of my mind, I don't entertain anything that would not please the one that I love. I was really been reflecting a lot on that, the Srimat of the mind, to what extent am I following it? Because when there is that level of surrender and obedience, then what would happen is that it would result in power coming to the soul. Only, Baba said, I think it was a week or two, that when there is that obedience, then the fruit of that obedience is power. The will within you increases, the capacity in you increases. So then the slogan for this morning, in the corporeal form, follow Father Brahma in his actions, and in becoming bodiless, follow the incorporeal Father. So in the corporeal form, follow Father Brahma in his actions, and in becoming bodiless, follow the incorporeal Father. Om Shanti. So let's just take a minute or two of silence just to absorb the Murli and connect with it in terms of what Baba wants us to absorb and cultivate. Shanti. So a very special Murli for Father's Day, isn't it? It's like we got a full introduction and in-depth awareness of our Alokik Father, Brahma Baba. So what are some of the thoughts that caught your heart today? What would you like to absorb? Those on Zoom can please write it on the chat, and then Pratiba will read it out. Yeah. Brahma Baba's example that, Baba always had that enthusiasm in terms of making that effort and becoming like Shiv Baba, complete. But he also maintained that enthusiasm for every child to become a special soul, and that Baba's words always gave that courage and motivated souls. Baba held the vision of every soul's speciality and, gently helped the soul to become that. And I think many of us have had that experience with Daddy as well. You know, Daddy Janki, like Daddy would see a potential in you that you wouldn't think that you had, you know, and she holds that vision of you and would gently nudge you towards that, you know. So it was what Baba did for them, and that's what they did for us. And so to become like Baba, we have to do that for each other. Okay, what are the thoughts that came?
The whole aspect about surrender. And Baba created powerful thoughts and awarenesses to hold. When I say I'm surrendered, then I take one strength and one support. I have the feeling that Baba is the protector and the benefactor. So these kinds of power, and also the whole aspect of I become free from the burden of body, and I'm able to stop. So if I say I'm surrendered, then these energies are aligned in that energy of surrender, then I will remain pure.
Yeah, yeah. So very nice. You know, I think one of the things Baba highlighted today was the aim and qualification. So he, you know, this is what it is, and then this is what it will look like. So Dipti Ben just sharing the whole aspect of surrender today. When Baba surrendered, what did that look like, you know? And so on one level, it was that being free from worry completely, being able to put the full stop, knowing that Shiv Baba is the protector and the benefactor. So never had to think about it in any way. And that whole thing that, you know, one strength, one support. And it was lovely what Baba said, that it was Baba's faith and Srimad that were his only support, you know. And on the basis of that, that was the total surrender. And when they ease that level of surrender, then what happens is the soul remains cheerful. There's no worry, there's no overthinking, but mind and intellect remains light.
Brother Goshe, apart from the love in your heart, what else do you?
Yeah, very good question. Apart from the love in your heart, what else do you have?
Then Jay by sharing.
Yeah.
The intoxication and happiness that we are the direct.
Yeah. Beautiful. The intoxication and happiness that we are the direct creation of God. Yeah. And that when we keep that intoxication high, you know, that was what Baba was highlighting today. Keep that intoxication high, because then that fuels our efforts and fuels our actions. And that's important. Yeah. Any other thoughts? Yeah, yeah. That Baba became the example in everything. He taught through example. Anything, you know, it was like if there was little manure patties that needed to be made to use as fuel, Baba would do it first, and then everyone would follow. So Baba led through his example. And in a way, by doing that, Baba also gave a very deep feeling of belonging. Anyone who came, whether it was a child or whether it was a youth or whether it was an elderly person, but everyone had that feeling, Baba belongs to me. There's example of the story of what's the brother's name, Kalpana, you shared with me, the one from Cambodia and all of that. Prakash Vadwani, who's in Nigeria currently, but he went, you know, his mother and them came into Gyan, and they went to Abu when he was a small child. And growing up in Cambodia, he didn't know Hindi at all. and not even English. They spoke French, I think it was. And so when they were there, Baba would make sure that, because they like paneer, so they got paneer every day to eat. And Baba would spend time with the child, would play carom board and things like that with the child. So the feeling was that although Baba couldn't communicate with him in words, but the feeling of love and belonging was created for him. And he didn't understand Gyan much, but the one thing he can remember, because of the love he felt from Baba, he felt inspired to go for morning class and sitting with his mother, and he couldn't understand anything but was just enjoying the vibration. But he remembered Baba saying chichi, and he connected that it meant eating meat is chichi. And so he became, as a child, he became a vegetarian on his own from that moment onwards. Yeah, but beautiful story. Yeah, but it showed like Baba accepted, and through love made the soul make effort. Yeah. One more point to share. Lovely. Yeah. 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 It was Baba's generosity, that he always had this awareness to make everyone good, and everyone, that enthusiasm that everyone should reach their highest. And even though Baba knew this is the last bead of the rosary, but his attitude was, may you keep moving forward, And that's the generosity we also need in our consciousness, because as we keep that awareness, we move forward in that same way. Yeah. Beautiful.
That people experience you to be the highest creation.
Yeah, if you're a princess, it can be seen, you see. So you have to show I'm the creation of the highest one through my way of being. Don't have to say it or announce it, but my way of being should reflect it. Beautiful. So lovely. It's a lovely feeling for Father's Day to honor our Father. One is to show gratitude to our Father, but the second is to honor our Father. Okay, so let's read the points for Mama's speciality and also the homework for the month. So today's the 18th, ne? No, 20th. Sorry, we a bit timeless at the moment. So the 20th today, am I right? 20th. Okay. So Mama's speciality. Mama was always a well-wisher for everyone. She never had the thought about anyone that this one is never going to reform. Though there were children with a variety of sanskaras in the gathering. She would understand their different sanskaras and take help from them and make them cooperative. So, that whole idea that when they surrender, there's yoga, then sayoga, cooperation. She would move along with them as much as possible. She was never disheartened. She discerned each one's sanskaras and their specialities and made them cooperative. Some became cooperative with their body, some with their mind, and some with their wealth. So we have to keep the aim to benefit everyone. Links in so beautifully with today's Murli, hey? Mama and Baba's speciality. And then the point for the homework, the theme at the moment is donate powers through your mind. The mirror of the power of the mind is, how do you know your mind is being powerful? Not fluctuating, you're quiet. Baba saying the mirror of the power of the mind is your words and deeds. Whether souls are in knowledge or not, when you are in relationship and connection with both type of souls, your words and deeds should be filled with good wishes and pure feelings. The words and deeds, actions of those whose minds are powerful and pure will automatically be pure and powerful and filled with good wishes. To have a powerful mind means to be an easy yogi whose power of remembrance is elevated and powerful. It reminds me, Daddy, whether souls were 20 years in Gyan or 3 years in Gyan, or they were there for the first time meeting her, the experience they always had is, of closeness to Daddy, belonging to Daddy. Even if they didn't have Gyan, but the feeling they would always have was like, that she's like our grandmother or mother. So many times I've heard people say that to Daddy in a way, in a public forum. And so that is it, that when the mind is so clean and powerful, it naturally creates that feeling of belonging, of closeness, of good wishes. Acha, Om Shanti. So we'll just end up with a few minutes of yoga first, and then we have a bit of a celebration today because it is Father's Day.
I will take a chance to be who I'm meant to be. I won't let fear keep me from trying. It's time for me to make a change, to start living the life I want. I'm gonna reach for the sky, way up high. I'm never giving up. It's up to me to see who I can be, make dreams reality. I'm never giving up. I'm never giving up. I'm never giving up. I'm never giving up. I won't live the life others expect of me. I want to be proud of who I'm becoming. It's time for me to make a change, to start living the life I want. I'm gonna reach for the sky, way up high. I'm never giving up. It's up to me to see who I can be, make dreams reality. I'm never giving up. It's up to me to see who I can be, make dreams reality. I'm gonna reach for the sky, way up high. I'm never giving up. It's up to me to see who I can be, make dreams reality. I'm never giving up. 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 I'm never giving up.
So today is Father's Day, and so we have a little celebration. So we are bring the table. We have a little cake to cut. We're a bit short on the fathers, but I'm sure there's a whole lot of fathers on Zoom. So put it here so everyone can see. Yeah, a little bit lower. I can see the cake. Right, yeah, Cheers. Are we gonna have music today? I'm gonna invite the fathers. We have Brother Freddie here, we have Brother Brian here, and we make Vikash an honorary father. Where? Come. Don't be shy. So, on behalf of all the fathers in the family, Brother Freddie and Brother Brian and Vikash, our honorary brother, has cut the cake. And now I'm going to read a blessing for those on Zoom. Oh, is it? Okay. Right, so for all the fathers on Zoom, this is your blessing. You always see possibilities and solutions, and so always make the best of opportunities. So this is the blessing for all the fathers on Zoom. Okay. Now I'm going to ask Freddie, you want to say a few words? Want to say a few words? Look at the
Om Shanti.
mic.
Om Shanti. I'm happy to be here today. I know I'm still a father, even if I'm surrendered, but the connection is still there. And I'm very grateful being here today. And Father's Day is all the blessings from all the sisters all the time. So yeah, thank you so much, and being with us all over the world. And thank you so much, Om Shanti.
Good morning, Om Shanti. Happy Father's Day to all of you watching. I'm also happy to be here after a long time, after lockdown. And it's a blessing to be at Observatory. Very powerful vibration and good people as well.
Say something about Baba being your father and about that.
Yeah, so Om Shanti everyone. So like a father's duty is to protect you, to feed you, to provide you. So like that, in that manner, Baba is sustaining all of us in every manner. And like in logic fathers also, like sometimes they are a bit tough on you, but it needs to be like that so that you are disciplined. Same way, Baba teaches that through many ways, so it will always be on track. I'm very happy to be here and be part of this family. Thank you.
Okay, are there any fathers on Zoom that would like to say anything?
Jaybai, they say you must say something.
You have to.
Jay, I can speak on that.
Do you look okay?
Right? Yeah, you look nice. You're going to the temple.
No.
Huh.
Because it's, Corona, we stopped going from.
Anybody from Zoom would like to share Father's Day?
Okay, never mind. The little fathers come and you say, oh, Bhaiya, give you. They have special, very nice masks are meant to be made for all the fathers. Wonderful. The mothers, you gave your nice warm stock. The mothers on your feet all the time. The feet warm in the cold, and the fathers lose their hair very quickly, so we got them beanies. very nice to have Sister Kumadi and Brother Brian. They all come say leave because we're going to be leaving soon. We go to Durban. Come. Yeah, that's fine. Om Shanti. It's nice to be for so many weeks, maybe more than 1 year. More than a year, yeah. More than a year. So this is just benefit in the drama. Actually, it benefit in the drama. So we are going to Durban soon, end of the month. To continue our there after being in Johannesburg for I think past 8 years. So now Baba wants, maybe Baba has some miracle there too for us. So it's very wonderful to have such beautiful family. Yeah, wherever we go is beautiful. So we'll take leave and we'll meet soon. And we'll meet every day in the Southern region anyway. Om Shanti, thank you.
Om Shanti. I'm going to read my blessing. It says, you are flexible and strong, able to adjust to any situation without injury to your heart. It's been I wouldn't say it's been a tough journey, but it's been a good experience. They say life is a journey. And I think I've come to a point now where nothing matters. And my journey is now becoming more meaningful because I can see the path clearly and I can see my goal. I can see my destination and my yoga is improving. And I think now that I've given up the house and I have no bondage, that's the way it feels. I feel very light and I have no expectations. And it's been a good journey from the time I started when I was about 20 something years old in other yoga practices. And I've seen exactly what I should be doing. The past 8 years or so, I think was a bit too little. So I've realized the time and what needs to be done. And I think this is an opportunity that I must take very seriously. And if I don't progress steadily from here on, then I'm not value the time, as such. And I want to thank everybody in Observatory. It's been a very powerful center to be at. For the last, I think 1 year, we didn't come to class because of lockdown and so on. But the support and strength that I've taken from Observatory Center and the sisters, brothers and so on has been tremendous. So I think my best experience has been here because in other places I haven't been to much centers and so on. And yeah, hopefully we'll meet up there. Thank you. Oh, okay.
think everyone. Also, I think to be aware that the infections are rising, so everyone do take care. Don't become slack. Don't become slack. Some people can get a bit relaxed. So please keep the mask on, sanitize, distance as far as possible to avoid crowded areas. And Houghton is a bit tricky here. Yeah, it is increasing. Just to be more attention. Baba's there to protect us, but we have to be sensible as well. Balance of both. So physically, we must take over the precautions. We need to keep happy. Our immune system stays strong, and then take care. Don't become like keep your mask on. Don't go into my mother died and father. Okay. Wow. You remember the specialities yes. Baba said. Okay, Let's take 1 minute silence.